Well, I wanted to share with y'all real quick my 5 steps that I use every season for scouting out public and private land alike, specifically with the focus on mobile style hunting. We'll just get right into it. Step number 1 is always, and I know it's basic, but always looking at satellite images, doing the e-scouting thing. I know every hunter knows how to do that, but the question is, what are you looking for on those maps? For me, I'm always looking for edge, a lot of edge. The more edge, the better. Whether that be terrain features, changes in vegetation, it doesn't matter. I can be in forests, open prairies, river bottoms, swamps. I don't care. I'm just looking for a lot of edge on the maps. Step number 1. I know that's simple, but that's the easiest thing to do, easiest step. And I want to get a bunch of those areas identified. I want to drop pins on my map, 10, 15 of them. That way I've got some options. That'll lead us into step number 2, which is getting boots on the ground. You got to go out and do some ground pounding. As anybody knows who's done this, once you get out there, after looking at an area on the map, and you start hiking around, you realize that it's a lot different than what you imagined. And there can be things that have dramatically changed. A tree could be blown over right in the middle of the area that you want to be at. It could have all caught on fire and been burnt up. You've got to get out and get boots on the ground. You got to get out and scout. Look for tracks, deer tracks. Look for trails. Look for human sign. You want to make sure that there's no other hunters in the area. I mean, that's what I look for almost more than deer, is on public land anyways, is looking for other hunters. So finding those deer trails, finding that deer sign and following it on those edges, and looking out for funnels and bottlenecks, which are the most prime places to hunt. As any experienced hunter knows, if you can find a good solid bottleneck, I mean, that's where you want to be. And yeah, if you find a lot of other hunter sign out there, don't write off the area entirely. You never know, people are inconsistent, so it could still be a great area. It could have been a few years old. But yeah, that leads us to step number 3, which is reading the sign that you found. So you want to know how old the sign is, how new the sign is. Obviously, current sign is what you're looking for. What I always look for whenever I'm going out scouting for deer in the preseason is high pellet counts and lots of tracks. Rubs are pretty much useless in preseason for scouting. I mean, they may work for some people in some places, but here in the South, I know it has never worked for me. I've spent many hours sitting on old dried up sign with no daylight deer ever showing up to it. Just don't let that old sign mislead you. It'll save you a lot of time. Just look for fresh tracks, fresh pellets, and food sources that will be producing during the deer season, such as acorns. Now, step number 4, you've found the spot that you want to hunt. You've found a lot of great sign. It's all fresh, current. Start familiarizing yourself with that environment. Look all around at all of your options. Don't get hung up on, oh, I got to get into this one tree, or I got to go hide behind this brush pile. This is the point of being a mobile hunter, is to expand your capabilities of having options. You don't want to just get stuck on going into the same tree every time. You got to do what works for you in that day while you're out hunting. You don't know what the weather might be like when you have that day off to go out there. And it's amazing being able to have those options, being mobile. You can go hang up in a tree in your saddle. You can go duck behind some brush on the other side of the transition or the trail that you're hunting on. Don't get hung up on one certain thing. I've made that mistake a lot myself as well, just going back to the same tree and blowing deer out, and they are expecting me to be there. Utilize being mobile. It works wonders. So yeah, just familiarize yourself with that area that you've decided to hunt. Are the trees going to drop leaves? Are you still going to have cover whenever the deer season starts? Just be very aware of what's going on. Be very observant of it. And that leads us to step number 5, the final step, but to me the most important step, which is your access and your exit plan. Scout out how you're going to access that area that you're going to hunt. What I like to do is get a camera, GoPro, cell phone, whatever, and video myself walking the trail, the path that I'm going to use to get into that area, and also exiting. That way, whenever the time comes for me to go hunt it, the day before or the night before, I can watch that video and know, and remind myself what I'm going to expect and what I'm going to encounter on that trail, and be that much more mindful and conscious of what's about to happen. That may not be necessary for everybody. I don't do that much anymore unless it's a brand new spot, but it helps a lot. And what's the point of going out and hunting anyways if you're going to spook everything out on your way in? Now, obviously, there's still opportunity. Just because you spook the deer doesn't mean that they're not going to come back, or you might have opportunities at other ones. But it can help a lot. Just have that stealthy mentality of, I want to get in there with nothing detecting me, and I want to be able to get out without them detecting me as well. On top of that, it helps a lot of the frustration. If you're going in the dark in the morning, you don't want to use a flashlight and be shining it everywhere. Well, you know that you've walked this path before and you're somewhat familiar with it, so you can do whatever maneuvers you got to do to get in. It just saves a lot of mental power. You can then focus on being stealthy, not worry so much about where you're going. But yeah, that's my 5 steps for scouting public and private land for mobile hunting, and it's most of what I do these days. It's not very often that I just get into a preset tree stand that I've had all season long sitting right there. And been doing this stuff for nearly a decade now, and I've seen a sharp increase in my encounters of deer and been able to shoot a lot more. It's just enhanced my experience of deer hunting greatly. And yeah, I recommend you do the same. But anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you subscribe and like this video.